Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC, without legal backing, has summoned the National Security Advisor, NSA, and Minister of Foreign Affairs to explain how the council allegedly operated despite concerns over its legitimacy. And the NSA was particularly summoned to explain why his office did not stop the promoter of PFIPC, Prince Adeniyi Matthew Adeyemi, from progressing with the agency after the Foreign Affairs Ministry exposed it as an illegal entity. And the committee also issued a final ultimatum to some concerned ministries, departments, and agencies to appear before it tomorrow. Yes, and that means there must be some links here. Some links here. And, guided by extant rules and regulations, as well as the necessity of carrying out due diligence before obliging any request, the ministry did not take any action on the request. That is according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Well, in the meantime, maybe the Senate, they are not interested in probing the PFIPC scandal, but they have extended their probe to other areas. The Safe School Initiative.
Yes.
Say State Fund, Nel Fund, UBEC, others under Searchlight, as Senate extend Safe School Initiative probe. Again, this Safe School Initiative that never got off the ground. And it reminds me again, I always like to make this analogy to George Orwell's Animal Farm. Anytime, looking at the position of the pigs were the ruling class in Animal Farm when the animals took over from the humans that were oppressing them. So, of course, the pigs now turned out to be even much worse than the humans that were governing before. But one of the things that the pigs would always do, anytime a cake is baked or something sumptuous arrives, they come out with their forks and spoons and carving knives. And then they eat everything and divide it amongst themselves. Remember, when the cows were milked and the animals were pondering what to do with all the milk. Napoleon, the head pig, dismissed them all, and then he later sat down with the pails of milk. And of course, everyone knew what was going to happen to that milk. So each time something that is supposed to benefit the majority of the masses, each time an initiative like that comes up, the pigs, in this particular context, the Nigerian pigs, they come up with their carving knives and spoons and forks. And let's describe it as a cake. Anytime a cake is baked, that is supposed to benefit the vast majority of Nigerians. So they gobble it up. Then they start initiating probes that we know will go nowhere. Same thing with the Safe School Initiative. So many initiatives.
Yes, so many.
And now that we need the Safe School, well, thank goodness the Senate has decided to look into it. But like I said, as usual, the probe is not going to go anywhere.
Yes, and they, like you said, they are supposed to go into what is happening in this issue of the fake agency, this PFIPC. Now they have turned their attention to the TED Fund, NEL Fund, and all of that, agencies. So I don't know why, Tola. Why do you think that they did not, just in your own opinion, this fake agency? Why do you think that they did not want to, probe what is really happening? And that because the federal government, President Tinubu, has said ICPC should give a broader, investigation into what really happened.
Bimbo, if you were in the marketplace and you feel a termite or one of these nasty ants that have painful bites, so that it begins to bite you on your backside,
yes,
and you are in the marketplace, are you going to expose your bomb in full glare of the public right there in the marketplace because you want to get rid of the tamati?
Wafara money in the market.
While you are in the market, maybe when you now get home, you can begin to get rid of. So that is exactly the analogy, Bimbo. They are not going to expose themselves. They are not going to probe themselves. So it was very convenient to give that excuse that the ICPC is already probing, and they think, as usual, they think Nigerians are fools. So the same people that you came to beg for their votes, now you think they are not intelligent enough to see through you. One of them, the man that said that demanded for the probe, maybe he wasn't in on whatever happened. So maybe that's why he was so vocal in asking that the ghost agency be probed. And when they shut down his proposal, you know what he said next? He said, history will judge all of us.
All of us.
Senator Kawu.
Yes.
That's what the man said. Whereas for the Safe School Initiative, it said the Senate resolved on Tuesday to x-ray the operations of education and humanitarian support agencies as part of the ongoing investigation of the Safe School Initiative, SSI. The agencies include the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, and National Social Investment Program Agency, NSIPA. I guess that's the agencies that the funds are supposed to be coming from. But the last two, Bimbo, have been very notorious for mismanagement of funds meant for such humanitarian purposes. That's talking about the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation and the National Social Investment Program Agency. So I guess if a thorough and sincere job is to be done, I guess that's where much of the filth will be found regarding the Safe School Initiative. And the Senate took the decision after a preliminary review of the SSI, that Safe School Initiative, indicated that there were significant intersections between the implementation and funding mechanisms of the SSI and several federal institutions responsible for educational funding, student welfare, social intervention programs, and humanitarian support. Our resolution followed a motion moved by the chairman of the ad hoc committee on SSI, Senator Oji Uzokalu, APC Abia, urging the Red Chamber to expand the scope of the investigation to cover the aforementioned agencies.
Well, there's so much for that. I think, still talking about the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, I think the House of Representatives, I think the House is taking some steps. Like I am seeing here, it is intensifying its investigation into the disputed agency, issuing a 48-hour ultimatum to ministries, departments, and agencies accused of frustrating its probe. And earlier when this thing came up, we heard that there are also some other fake agencies and councils, in the federal government, which are being, given budgets, are being budgeted for every year. And yes, 48-hour ultimatum. The investigation was launched following allegations that the council operated as a government agency, despite questions over its legal foundation, with lawmakers examining how it appeared in official records and whether public institutions facilitated its activities. And the development came amid fresh twists in the matter, including the summons of Foreign Affairs Minister Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu by the House Committee, despite the ministry sending a representative to appear before the panel, as well as the withdrawal of Senior Advocate of Nigeria Femi Falana SAN from the legal representation of the embattled alleged Director General of the Council, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, and the House ad hoc committee investigating the alleged establishment, funding, and operations of the council warned the 14 MDs that it will deploy its constitutional powers to compel compliance if they failed to appear before the committee with requested documents and officials. Tola, there is more. There is more to it than what we are seeing on ground now.
Terror financing, biggest threat to Africa's security. And guess who that's coming from? The federal government to the African Union. And I say, physician, heal thyself. I make bold to say that the more significant portion of funding for terrorism flows through Nigeria's financial system. We are the ones that refuse to act when we see red flags, especially in the funding system regarding curious financial transactions, especially where big names are involved. Even when we know that these accounts belong to terrorist groups or known illicit arms dealers, our banks look the other way. And ditto for the federal government, they look the other way. I remember when the Boko Haram insurgency first started, and at the heat of the Boko Haram scourge during the Jonathan administration, it took the federal government so long to shut down the accounts of that particular group after knowing fully well that these accounts belong to Boko Haram. And then see the speed with which they closed down the accounts of people who bought biscuit and pure water for NSAS protesters on the streets of Lagos and Ibadan. And they labeled them terrorists. They said they were funding terrorism because they procured biscuits and pure water for use that were protesting against police brutality. But for them to now shut down, it took a very long time. And and they closed down those accounts because it was becoming embarrassing. But then they told us they closed it down. As we speak, I don't know if they still operate those accounts. Those that sell arms, illicit arms, in the black market, they don't accept cash from you. That money is wired through Nigerian banks. So it's interesting. The federal government is now telling the rest of Africa that terror financing is the biggest threat to Africa's security. There are known terror financiers here in Nigeria. The federal government has admitted that much, and even some of the Middle East nations have listed names of these people and sent it to the federal government. They kept it close to their chest, refusing to disclose and refusing to act.
You remember that the federal government once mentioned that they will release, I think sometimes last year, they released the names of those financing terror in Nigeria. Up till now, till today, nothing has come up. So if it's quite unfortunate.
So if you are saying a former president, a former president now late, and one of his cronies were the ones that imported these evil elements into our country for the sake of elections. Now that former president has been long dead, and to think of it, is it the same finances? Is it the same arms that were supplied to those people since that time that they are still using up till now? So, of course, there are still people that are sustaining the activities of these people. Well, the federal government has called on the African Union AU to intensify efforts to block illicit financial flows sustaining terrorist groups across the continent, warning that access to illegal funds remains one of the biggest obstacles to defeating terrorism and violent extremism in Africa. Now, speaking at the 1354th meeting of the Peace and Security Council (PSC) of the AU at the ministerial level held virtually on Tuesday, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, said terrorist organizations are increasingly relying on illicit financing to recruit fighters, acquire sophisticated weapons, and sustain their operations. The position was contained in a statement by Dr. Magnus Eze, Special Assistant on Communication and New Media, Office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abuja. Well, Ambassador Ojukwu has only stated the obvious.
Well, another attack again in Plateau State. Yes, Plateau State.
It goes on and on.
Yes.
It looks like it's never going to end. Plateau, yes. Benue.
Benue and Borno State.
Nasarawa, Taraba. Well, Borno is it seems to have become a way of life in those places. But the same thing is unfolding in the Middle Belt, Middle Belt regions.
Yes, and well, this is again happening in Barkin-Ladi local government area, and it has become a common incident here in this local government. Gunmen yesterday attacked Doruwa Babuje community in Barkin-Ladi local government area of Plateau State, killing 2 persons in yet another assault on the troubled community. And the attack reportedly occurred about 1 p.m. when the assailants stormed the community and opened fire on residents, throwing the area into panic as people fled for safety. A member of the community, Mr. Alfred Bitrus, told reporters that the gunmen invaded the village in the afternoon and shot 2 persons dead before fleeing the scene. Bitrus said the attack was unprovoked, adding that residents were going about their normal activities when the gunmen struck. And confirming the incident, the publicity secretary of the Birom Youth Molders, Mr. Ruang Tengwong described the attack as tragic and condemned the continued killings in plateau communities. That's what I always ask. What is happening? What do they want? Is there any feud between them? Is there one issue that they want to, settle? Why now resort to killing, maiming? And I don't understand. And it has been ongoing, especially this plateau state.
Well, but the situation in Plateau and Benue, it's actually very complex. Now, first of all, you want to ask that if the same areas, the same communities have been trouble spot for years, why is it so difficult to root out the perpetrators?
Yes.
They are domiciled within the same community. They are not in hiding. They cannot be far away, even if they are in hiding. And they keep repeating these attacks with brazen impunity. But the reason I said this situation can be very complex, you must also look at the other side. It's very common for every one of us, for everyone to blame the Fulani militias, the killer herders, to blame them for these atrocities. But then, within the communities themselves, the different ethnic groups living in Plateau and Benue that are indigenous, they are always at each other's throats. Many of them are also at each other's throats. So they have ethnic militias, armed ethnic militias.
Yes.
So they set upon themselves. Now, the kind of arms they carry, if they were to come together, they have the capability to face their common enemy.
Yes.
Those that come from outside to attack them, the killer herders,
Yes.
and others, maybe even bandits. They have that capacity. But no, much of the time, they prefer to fight themselves. They prefer to kill themselves. And some of them won't go to solicit the help of the so-called killer herders of their common enemy to come and fight the other ethnic group within that same state, within that same community. So, like I said, it's very complex, and that's why it may be very difficult for the government and security agencies to actually solve this problem. Because if you were, is it the Birom that you would now want to round up their people, or is it the Jonkun or the thieves? Talking about Benue State now. So it's so complex, Bimbo. And in Southeast Nigeria too, we have places that are also being ravaged by killer herders and a common enemy. But IPOB came up, and what did we see? Instead of protecting their own people, that they turned their guns on their own people. They started killing their own people, destroying the economy of their own respective states in Southeast Nigeria.
Well, so let's go to security, education issues now. Well,
and I'm seeing something here. Graduation fees.
Yes.
Outcry over expensive graduation fees.
Yes, like for secondary schools, not universities. Yes.
Really?
And you can.
When they start charging that?
Then what I always wonder is that when did the secondary schools start using the word graduation? What we knew then was valedictory service for secondary schools. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back.
Unstoppable you, fueling your vitality the whole day through. Embrace each challenge with renewed might. With Supermalt, your performance takes flight.
With 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, one Supermalt multivitamin after breakfast every day keeps you going.
Yes, the program is still Conversation on Oluyole FM 98.5 in Ibadan. Yes, graduation fees, secondary schools, Tola.
So you were talking about graduation and valedictory service. Well, it's a matter of semantics. It means the same thing. So no harm if they want to call it graduation, if they want to call it valedictory service or farewell service or whatever. But okay. It says economic pressures are hitting families hard as many private and public secondary and many private and public schools across the country demand steep fees for end of session parties and graduation ceremonies. Must you have a party? Now, parents are speaking out against these rising costs, calling them unfair and unnecessary during a period of widespread financial hardship. Earlier, some state governments banned graduation ceremonies for nursery, kindergarten, and other pre-primary pupils nationwide. They also urged schools to stop exploiting students in terminal classes under the guise of organizing graduation events. The decision followed the announcement in a joint statement by the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, and the Minister of State for Education, Shuaibu Said, on the matter. While some states have domesticated the policy, many others remain silent on the matter. Consequently, many schools are capitalizing on weak enforcement mechanisms to continue exploiting parents. In Lagos, Jigawa, Niger, Plateau, Ogun, and Oyo states, average private schools charge as high as 150,000 naira, for God's sake, or more for graduation, and between 30,000 and 50,000 per student for end of session activities. For eyebrow private institutions, these fees are double. Public schools, including federal government colleges, are also demanding huge sums for terminal ceremonies from their students. For families with multiple children in the same school, the total cost far exceeds a month's salary of many families. But many parents pay simply to save their children from the stigma of feeling excluded. Of course, the innocent ones, they will not understand. They will feel that you don't like them, you don't love them.
And they will be seeing their colleagues, even their other colleagues, being, treated well, the rich ones. And they will not know, like you said, they will feel like dejected. Yes.
It's those private schools that are most annoying.
Yes.
After milking you dry,
yes,
through the years that your child spent in that school, he wants to graduate, you are still greedily trying to look for what I call illicit funds from the parents.
And Tola, do you know that there are some private schools, in fact many private schools, different uniforms every day? Do you know? I have witnessed some, I've seen some different uniforms every day.
Well, the one I'm aware of is the one where they will tell you on a particular day that you have to wear sportswear, which is understandable.
Yes.
But that's the one I'm aware of.
Yes. And when I was in secondary school, government college, up school, yes, we used to have our normal uniform, but we wear one on Wednesdays. That is what we call housewear. Housewear, just housewear, extra uniform. We don't even use sports wear. And when there are sports programs, yes, we do that, but not that we now use different uniforms every day, or 3 or 4 uniforms every day. No, it is not proper. All these private schools, I don't understand, and all the aim of just collecting money from impoverished parents. Even if the parents were rich, at least to some extent, it is too bad. Yes.
And don't they have PTAs? That is the problem with Nigerians.
Yes.
Some I don't want to use any uncouth word to describe such parents. The ones that are in the PTA, probably they'll be the ones they'll be the rich ones who don't care whether others cannot afford these expensive graduation parties and graduation fees. So at the level of the PTA, you begin to wonder that do these schools just take these decisions unilaterally? Do they consult the parents? Yes. And why don't they speak up at the PTA meetings that this should not be?
Yes.
Okay, now there's a parent here. So many stories of frustration here. Mrs. Bolande Adelowo, a mother of 2, expressed that deep frustration. She says, "I'm paying over 100,000 naira just for my son who is transiting to secondary school." In Lagos, another parent who preferred to remain anonymous shared a breakdown of the cost at a school in the Isono area of Lagos. "We were asked to pay 110,000 for the SS3 graduation. The money covers photo shoots, uniform and muffler, a yearbook and promotional party. The graduation fee is 60,000 naira. He said that is compulsory, while the other is optional." Another parent in the pair complained to the Nigerian Tribune that our daughter was charged 150,000 naira graduation fee and will still buy a graduation suit of 210,000 naira, which is optional though.
Imagine, okay.
I think all this is criminal, Bimbo.
Yes, I don't understand. I don't understand why these owners of these schools are embarking on such.
So graduation time is the time you want to make all the money to run your school. You cannot make enough money to run your school from the exorbitant fees that you've been charging over the years.
Yes. Now, well, if they want to listen, if they don't want to hear, let them hear. If they want to listen, let them listen. Well, this one, talking about education again, but now, yes, this one is about a fake university that was uncovered. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Badagry Area Command, has uncovered a suspected fake university operating from a 3-bedroom apartment in Ilado, Odorunda local government development area of Lagos State, rescuing 106 youths allegedly recruited into the scheme. And the command also arrested the alleged proprietor of the institution, who was accused of luring young people from across Nigeria and neighboring West African countries with promises of admission into a foreign university. The Banla 419.
Maybe it's like maybe a satellite
Campus.
I wouldn't call it a campus.
No,
maybe a
satellite
satellite, maybe unit.
Yeah, unit.
For a bigger university, and they didn't go through the proper procedures.
This one is a real fraudster.
I'm just trying to reason that maybe we can find something to explain what he's doing, but then it looks very much like it's a scam.
Yes, and according to the call, that is the NSCDC, the suspected institution was operating without an official name, registration, signboard, or recognized campus, while allegedly presenting itself online as a distance learning center affiliated with a foreign university.
I said it. And well, how long has it been operating? Does the story say?
Well, let me just see here. I can see a picture of the 4-bedroom flat and some students there. And well, the NSCDC said they got the reliable intelligence about the activities going on there, and their officers monitored the place for 4 days before moving in. They had arrested the proprietor, who is assisting with their investigations, while the students have been taken to their protective custody. Well, and they further said that, let me see, investigations revealed that the rescued youths, mostly between ages 19 and 24, came from several Nigerian states, including Kogi, Oyo, and some northern states. Others reportedly traveled from neighboring countries such as Niger, Cameroon, and Togo after being recruited online. It was not stated how many, for how many years they have been operating. It was indicated that to pay admission and processing fees, it ranged from 200,000 to 1.5 million.
Wow.
While some foreign nationals reportedly paid between $400 and $500 after being promised admission into a foreign tertiary institution.
You know what I think, Bimbo? Yes, it's a scam, but I guess he only wanted to operate for a period of time, and then he would quickly pack his bag and baggages, and then and shut down the place and escape before he's squealed upon. But unfortunately, maybe he stayed too long. He must have made a lot of money within that period.
Yes.
Or there's also a possibility that maybe the legit part of it is that it would actually help some students to process admissions into foreign tertiary institutions, and to make it look 100% legit, it might have actually succeeded in helping some people, so that it will just like this Ponzi schemes.
Yes, like it is stated there. It allegedly operated like a Ponzi or chain marketing scheme, with participants promised increasing financial rewards based on the number of new recruits they brought into the program.
So initially, some of it will actually be legit. You will find those that have actually found themselves in foreign universities through genuine processing. That is to hoodwink others, because those students and the parents that send them there, or whichever sponsors that send them there, they are not stupid. So they must have actually looked into it, and must have seen, must have shown them instances where some actually scaled through, succeeded, and their documents were processed and now in foreign tertiary institutions. All that to lure others.
Yes.
So the others will not be the ones that will fall victim of the bigger scam.
Yes, I'm sure it must have been operating for a long time because before it was discovered now.
Attention sightings in Anambra as suspected gunmen kill 4 herders of same
Family.
parents.
The same parents, yes.
Oh dear. Well, something must have led to that. The others themselves have actually been a problem in Enugu and Anambra. I'm not justifying this killing. I condemn it in its totality. But like I said, something must have led them to the killings. Let's quickly see here, Bimbo. Students, residents flee for safety. That's Meyeti Allah sues for calm. Tension on Tuesday heightened in Awka, the Anambra State capital, as suspected gunmen shot dead 4 herders of same parents. Several cattle were slaughtered in the mayhem that greeted the town in the early hours of the day. Investigations revealed that the armed men stormed a popular ranch in the students' populated Miracle Junction area, where they unleashed terror. Victims of the attack were children of same parents, whose names were Gunas Mohammed Bujumi, Azan Bujumi 1, Abubakar Bujumi, and Sani Bujumi, respectively. However, the leadership of the Miyeti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Magban, has appealed for calm among members, expressing confidence in the state government and security agencies to track down the perpetrators of the act. The group has since confirmed the floor slain others as of the same parents. Well, only God knows what led to this. The story does not say. And they also slaughtered their cows. I don't know if it's possible reprisal for an earlier attack by the others themselves. Like I said, they've also been a problem in them, especially in Enugu and Anambra. But then we don't know what happened. We cannot hazard any guess. And it could be mischievous people trying to set these people on themselves. So it could be anything. So that's why I welcome what Mieti Allah said, calling for calm and allowing the security agencies to do their job.
Yes, before we go to the phone lines, the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, was, announced as the chairman of the Rural Electrification Agency chairmanship position. And of course, is Isaac Fayose. He told his elder brother, that is Ayo Fayose, that he should hand off his newly announced Rural Electrification Agency chairmanship, that he should, transfer it to his son. He said the former Ekiti State governor was too politically significant for such a role. And the younger Fayose made the remark in a video on his Instagram page on Monday, reacting to the presidency's announcement that his brother had been appointed chairman of the REA board alongside 25 others named into the leadership of 10 federal agencies and commissions. And according to a statement by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, Fayose would chair the board alongside Amadu Abubakar and Ilyasu Ibrahim Makinta as non-executive directors, with the agency's incumbent Director General Abba Abubakar Liu and 3 executive directors retained. And Isaac opened his post by contrasting the chairmanship with more senior positions. He believed his brother deserved, saying, "They said they gave my brother a DG, not a minister, not an ambassador." Well, that is his own opinion, his own view.
It's sarcasm on the part of Isaac Fayose. Everyone knows that there's no love lost between them.
Yes.
And it's not because he actually loves his brother that much. He's trying to tell him that troops rescue 27 kidnapped victims for abduction attempt in Sokoto. I remember you mentioned something. You said Africa. now world's hunger epicenter, as reported by the Nigerian Tribune. 399 million people go hungry. And I was wondering, did they make a mistake? Were they talking about Africa or Nigeria as the epicenter of
I think
as the world hunger epicenter?
I think Africa in general.
Oh,
yes.
I thought it was Nigeria.
No, Africa in general. But
but I guess Nigeria would be very high on that list.
Yes, Nigeria would be there, and Nigeria would be mentioned. Yes. Yes, 07055551985. Hello, good morning.
Oh, we lost that. 07055551985.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bimbo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What you read just now about poverty and Nigeria being the center of poverty. The last work call finished on Sunday. When you see about the tickets bought by the people, if you look at the range of the prices people pay for the ticket, you find $8,000, $5,000, some tickets are $15,000. And you can still see the stadium full to the brim. You can see the 80,000 capacity full to the brim. Now you begin to wonder if Nigeria has the opportunity of hosting a competition, and they say the least ticket is 5,000 naira. How many people in Ibadan can afford to be paying 5,000 naira every 2 days to be going to Adamasinga or to be going to the stadium to watch? People will prefer to go to Bodija market and buy meat and eat. Is that 5,000 or 10,000 naira ticket? Now, I'm not talking about naira. Now, $5,000, the least ticket, $15,000. And there was some documentary, and the person was asking those people who came to the stadium, which job do you do? People are coming as I'm a painter, I'm a photographer, I'm a CEO, people are coming with the job they do to be able to afford the ticket. But that is how you measure the economy of a state. That's how you measure the GDP of the state, not the one you put on paper and say the economy is improving because your people cannot feed themselves. So you as the government is saying your economy is improving. Then on the issue of Israeli, Iran, and US war. Yesterday they said the Israeli government raised the security level and alert level. That means something is coming out this week again. I just appeal to them, they should stop all these things. It's not for them alone. Our people here now, the oil price is not coming down again, it's going up. So by the time you start the escalation again, maybe you'll be buying fair by 1516. This thing should stop now. And the only reason is that and I wanted to be collecting their own tax. The taxes they are taking out straight up of most. US is not allowing them. Why this them like their country now? Why are you have taking the chunk, 80% chunk of the agreement? So let them collect their tax and let the tax pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Jide, regarding how Nigerians might react to exorbitant World Cup tickets if we are to host such a tournament, you just might be wrong, Mr. Jide. Nigerians love those things that give them leisure, and they are ready to spend money on it. I'll give you an example. Here in Ibadan, a particular private radio station organizing for the Christmas whatever for children, and they started with I think 5,000 naira. Later they increased to 7,500. And the last was 10,000 up or 15,000, and the response was still massive. Ordinary people, the masses. So that's to tell you that go to any typical relaxation spot in the evenings, and you see the kind of the people you find there. Not just the rich, not just those ones that have exotic cars. Even ordinary people, struggling civil servants, you would find them there. So if it's leisure, Nigerians, trust Nigerians, Mr. Jide, you will find them there, and they will spend their money.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm
Good to have you, Mr. Ngwerem.
Now, I'll take it agency about the now, all the people are told you, so that they authorize the establish. You can see Nigerian system, and they're too corrupt. All the ministers that mentioned should be involved. They not say they don't know about the man. Oh, it's a lie. Now, on clear problem, I have a problem. Nothing will come out of it, because I said it always. I just nothing will come out. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
William.
Mr. William. 070 5555 1985.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
It is I can be advised from you.
Good to have you, sir.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Tola. Ademi Adeyemi, PG of that we go down.
Hello?
Are you listening to me?
Okay, we can hear you now.
It succeeded in exonerating Gbajabi Amila so much that no judge will find nothing to pin on Gbajabi Amila. I was so surprised to read it because what he said was contrary, quite very contrary to his initial statement, where he claimed to have substantial evidence to back all his assertions. Well, that will help us. Secondly, do we enforce laws we make in this country? No, I don't think we do. If not, there wouldn't be seamless graduation fees imposed on nursery and primary school students in this country by these private and public schools. You see, now we are blaming Tinubu's, Makebe's, Adelike's, our political leaders for being too selfish and greedy. What of these grassroots silo proprietors making already impoverished parents very dry? Why are they so selfish? It is not their fault. It is the fault of our government. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
070 5555 1985.
Yes, the program is still Conversation on Oluyole FM 98.5 in Ibadan. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr.
Good morning, Mr. Fabu.
Mr. Fabumi, you're welcome.
Yes, I just overheard the last contributor saying that Mr. Ademi is elected by Jamina. That's not the position of the law at all. Do you know this man started by saying that 400 million was given to Jamina to remain balance of 200 million. Now, he now said the only weakness an intermediary between them that Animola. You know, the position of the law is that the earliest opportunity which you have to make a statement, when you make that statement, that is assumed to be correct. No, this stupid man is not even defending Tinubu. And this is the fact that the man is afraid of his life. And that's why I'm not saying something else. So everybody knows the fact. And at the same time, why did they put out of way this Animola? And